So we're back. We realised after just sort of impromptu putting together, sitting down and talking last week, we haven't actually discussed why there was a big gap in this podcast coming out, what's been happening at this place, what you're up to.
It's been like a weird nebulous time for Sales Sniper because like 7th level became such a beast, behemoth of a thing. And like Sales Sniper became cost benefit thing where it was like, Jesus, is it really worth putting all this effort and energy into when this thing over here is bigger and more profitable? And so, you know, from there we sort of changed focus and we downscaled Sniper to like, we just got rid of all the clients that weren't really profitable. And then so we're just going to do it for people that can provide really good leads and have a really good system, and like no more new businesses and no businesses that have had ads off for 3 or 6 months. We were sort of in a position where I was like, hey, like we don't really need it. And a lot of the stuff at Sales Sniper were sort of retasked to do stuff at 7th.
When I was here, it was getting sort of difficult to distinguish the two, right? Like it was kind of, people were doing roles for both.
We're still kind of detangling them, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like we sort of did a bit of a final detangle this week of like kind of like that. But figuring out like what does Sales Sniper do and what does 7th level do, and like how do we not kind of things up by like when you intertwine them, it makes both businesses a little bit more anemic.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, what happened was like I was doing sales for 7th myself, and then I was also doing sales for other clients. I think it was like December of 2021, I kind of like stopped doing sales full time and then started running the businesses. And that's where I started growing both of them. And then from there, it was like basically Sales Sniper kind of acted as like the infrastructure of 7th level and kind of subsidized its growth. Essentially, is what really happened. For lack of a better term, there wasn't much money going for it, but it was like all the people that were working over here were also working over here, right? And like not getting paid for it by them. And then from there, it kind of ended up sort of switching, not switching over, but like I took a large chunk of the business and put it into 7th level. 7th level could grow independently. But then like that kind of made Sales Sniper a bit more anemic because like, you know, I took a chunk of things out and people out and didn't really like replace them and stuff like that. And so sort of looked at it and was like, you know, what is Sales Sniper? You know, it's a really good done for you sales agency, like, because I know how to do it and Marvin knows how to do it and stuff like that. But like, if we're really focused over here, like, what are we really doing? So really, we just nuked it down to like 3 or 4 clients. Right. And then, you know, I was like, well, as 7th level got a bit more, okay, cool, like everything's working really well. It's on a nice growth path. There's lots of people in there. It's like, is there an opportunity now to grow it again, but the right way? Because the way that we did it initially was like every client on the fucking planet. Like we had like 50 clients. It was madness.
Yeah.
You know, like it was like there's no sales agency that's gone to that level. And I can see why.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a really bad idea.
So just too many clients?
Too many, man. It's mental.
Yeah.
Like, because the moment you sort of add that level of client, you add so much operational complexity in the business, and you have to have so many people. And like it's such a high risk proposition of a business that like you have a bad couple of months, or like, you know, a couple of your key accounts, ad accounts go down, and you're fucked.
Yeah.
Like you got to pay these people.
Yeah.
You know, and so that you either end up with like just nuking everybody or.
So let me see if I understand correctly, because you took on so many accounts, had so many people, and when things are going great, it's awesome. But because you have to feed so many leads or deal with so many leads from so many different accounts, you put on a lot of different staff that you're on
managers that manage.
Yeah.
And those people aren't making money.
Yeah. And you're on the hook for those people.
Yeah.
You have to pay them their salaries, whatever. But you're not necessarily always in control of making enough money or having enough leads or whatever to actually facilitate them doing work that makes enough money for the business to go.
And then what happened is we're like, okay, cool, we'll become good at marketing. So then we're like, let's start our own marketing company. And we got a marketing company up to $300,000 a month in 21 days.
Yeah.
Right? Not bad, right?
Yeah.
But then we were like, because we were the sales guys, and we were like, yeah, we'll do your ads too. Like, even when it worked, the bills they were paying were so astronomical.
Yeah.
That like, we were taking 25% and $20,000 a month, plus the other few things. So like some of the clients are paying us $400,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of money to pay one person, even if they are doing all the work to get it and doing a good job and all that kind of stuff. Like it starts to eat away at the relationship, no matter how good a job you do, unless they have a real big picture view of it, which isn't that common.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was one client that we had, Yield Farm, which was their crypto account. Like, I still got a good relationship with them, like really nice guys, but we had a 22 times return of ad spend. Like, and so we weren't doing the marketing, we were doing the sales.
That's outrageous.
It's outrageous.
What's like, what would you look at normally and go, oh yeah, that's pretty good?
5.
Okay.
Yeah. So they'd be like, yeah, well done, nice.
5 to 1, you'll go, hey, you're doing a
great
great
business
job.
of that size, like we got them from 0 to 3 million a month in 6 months, right? No, I say we, but like I facilitated the sales, right? But we had 15 full-time guys in there.
Yeah.
You know, but I architected that system, so I managed that account. I architected it, and then from there we had like, you know, a person doing the day-to-day and stuff like that. But like it was a real system, and I was like, oh sweet, we can leverage this. And we started off selling it for $8,000. I ended up selling 25
Right.
Right. So we figured out a few things, and we had a really efficient system. And so, but they were paying us 25% or 22%, whatever it was, right? And they can play a closer 8%, and then a manager at 1% override, $900,000 a year. And the guy's happy as Larry. So when they started paying us $350,000 a month in commission, they started building an internal team. I knew they were doing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, good luck.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not going to beat my guys. But I was like, they will figure out a system to match the profit, though.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I knew that it was a bit of a ticking clock. And so,
I guess that's kind of the issue when you're doing everything for someone. It's kind of happening within a black box that they can't see.
well, they should have, though, but I wasn't good at the, like, it's funny, right? Like, I sort of figured out what I did wrong with a few of those things. And I got a mate of mine, you know, Max, right? And he is like a SaaS sales guy, like working for Microsoft and those kind of companies. So a lot of that's like account management to like hold the account. And what he kind of explained to me was like, yeah, like they, like accounts, like you need to tell them all the things you fix for them every day.
Right.
Right? Like, so it's not just about
So
telling
they
them
can
all the
see
things
in
that
that
go well.
box.
Like they should be terrified of you leaving, and they shouldn't want to take a shit without asking you.
Yeah.
Right? And so like we just fixed stuff and just did stuff, which meant that like they just assumed their marketing was awesome.
Right.
Right? Now when they tried to build their internal team, they were paying them 8%. My guy, we're paying 22. Right? So, but it took them like 6 months to figure out how to just match us in terms of profit. They were like, how are you doing? You know, I was like, well, pay me money, like I'll tell you. We can do a handover if you'd like we can facilitate this transition. Like,
Yeah.
I actually learned a lot from doing that because like from there, like I started like preempting
Yeah.
the transition, because as soon as they get to a couple $1 million a month, like they're just too big for an external team.
Mhm.
Unless it's like part of a greater thing, like we're doing Brunson sales, right? Like we're doing all the Mastermind sales for Brunson, and they're a $300 million company.
Yeah.
So, you know,
So is that 7th level doing that, or is that
no,
sales
sales.
sniper?
It's
So
just a
that's sales
done
sniper.
for you sales.
Right.
So the distinction is like done for you sales and like pure sales consultancy, and then anything sales training is like 7th level,
Mhm.
right? So like if I get a lead in through the Sales Sniper website, it's a sales training aid, like I just send it up to the guys to sell.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? Because like Sales Sniper, like we don't want it to be big again,
Mhm.
but we want it to be profitable.
Of course.
So like we're doing a couple of good accounts at the moment, and like that will probably open the door to a couple of other good ones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Are you doing any of the marketing of those accounts, or just the sales?
We're doing the marketing for 2 accounts, but one is just a marketing account, and one is a marketing and sales, which we've been doing for years, which is like cyber, we've been doing it for a long time, right? And then for the other ones are just sales, right? So because like, but we can give them some good insight.
Mhm.
So like for Clickfunnels, like they're phenomenal in marketing, but they've never done marketing for that. I was actually in a meeting with them today, and I was like, you guys don't see a few of these angles. I'm like, oh no, we don't. And I was like, they're so close to it, and they've been in there for so long that they don't see some of the things they have no one else has.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, why don't you guys just like, I was like, you have access to everyone's data, right? They're like, yeah. And I was like, why don't you just like show them? Like, don't show them people's data, but go like, this is what success looks like for online fitness. Your open rate should be this. If it's not, don't have chat. Right? So like it's like so easy. And I was like, just do that. Like, oh yeah. You know? So because they have some really great coaching programs that teach an awful lot because they have so much insight. You know? But like the way that they're marketing that particular insight is like not super relevant to who they're trying to market it to.
Mhm.
But it's because they're like the greatest in the world at marketing Clickfunnels.
Right.
Doesn't mean that they're like, so they understand. So once you kind of go, no, the customer journey needs to be this, they go, oh yeah, sweet, boom, and they go do it.
Right.
But it's like a totally different customer journey.
Right.
Someone buying Clickfunnels versus someone buying a 30K mastermind.
Mm-hmm.
It's just different, So,
Yeah.
But they're like media buying and funnel building ability to optimize things is phenomenal.
How's Clickfunnels make money? They
in every way imaginable.
Yeah. So you pay a subscription to get into it.
Yeah, it's like $197 a month. I think it's $97, $197, and $297 a month, depending on like how much access and how many different things you have and how many team members you have. And that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but then do they take a clip of everything that goes through the funnel? So it's just a straight.
No, but they do have a payment processor, which is pretty smart.
Right.
So, which is payments.ai.
Mm-hmm.
So they bought that a while ago, and it's like it uses Stripe as well, but then like it's quite clever. So, like Stripe sucks for subscriptions,
Mm-hmm.
and so you get a lot of like,
Why?
it's because of the way that coding works with the banks, right? So when you get like a decline on Stripe, and it says insufficient funds.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the amount of funds.
Okay.
It's just Stripe trying to make you feel good, like there's a reason. They don't know the reason.
Okay.
Right? It's just whatever, that's what the bank, or that's what Stripe is told to show you. So what happens is there's like a code that goes out along with the transaction. And so the banks have an algorithm which decides if that code is legit and if they should protect their customer. It's all customer protection stuff, right? Like fucking $50. $50, you have $50. If you're a functioning fucking human, you have $50 on your credit card,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, Jesus Christ. And so payments.ai knows what the bank is likely to accept and then changes how that transaction looks to the bank.
Yeah, right, okay.
Right? So like Stripe is used by every scammer on the planet.
Yeah.
Right? And so like a Stripe transaction is immediately flagged.
Right.
Right? But it's like the only fucking payment processor that makes any sense for 90% of businesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're like the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because I've looked into all of them,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone claims to be cheaper, and nobody is.
So you're not shitting on Stripe. Stripe
No.
still is the best.
Yeah,
Probably
in my
industry
opinion,
standard.
it is the best for 99% of any business that does any sort of online transaction, right? But like payments.ai uses Stripe and a couple of other things, and it's actually cheaper than Stripe by itself,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's quite a good way of doing it. Like we're looking into it, but you can only use it in Clickfunnels
Mm-hmm.
because Clickfunnels owns it, right? So like that's the way that they can
Yeah.
everything, right? But that makes sense. But like it's like supposed to increase the payment plan and sort of like acceptance rate of that kind of stuff, and so and be better for chargebacks and shit like that. All right, one of the shit things about Stripe is you lose a dispute every time.
Yeah.
Like no matter how much evidence, like we've submitted like Zoom calls with them going, oh yeah, this can't wait for it, love it, sending testimonials,
Yeah.
and they're like, I never logged in, I never got this before.
Yeah.
They're like, but here's a testimonial from the person. Oh, we don't care.
Yeah.
Which I get it, like it's just not worth their effort.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I've only had one on Stripe, and it was very clear the guy was just being a dick.
Yeah.
He'd consumed everything, like everything. I submitted way more, like enough data to get the guy.
if it's
convicted
marked
of
as forwarded
murder.
comment,
Yeah, and he just was. They just no.
if it's marked as did not receive, you can win that one.
Yeah.
But if it's
No,
marked
it
as
was.
forwarded comment,
Yeah, didn't recognize the charge. Like I don't
and
know
they
what
can
this
do
is.
it like a year and a half, 2 years.
It was a long
It's
time
terrifying.
after.
There's some terrifying. I had a guy dispute done for you sales commissions a year later.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, are you right, motherfucker? I called him. It was like 90 grand.
Yeah.
I was like, hey man, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. You definitely do. Like,
And he turned it around.
yeah, like we're
Yeah.
gonna fix this, aren't we, buddy? Oh, it's all right. He's just running out of cash.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, so like we have, Brunson at the moment, which is a great account. Really fun to work on, like that sort of taking up in terms of done for you sales all the time. You know what I mean? Because it's quite complex because we're like architecting the entire system.
Right.
We-
That's a feather in your cap, right? Like doing
Uh.
sales for Clickfunnels.
Yeah, it's good. Like it's an interesting conundrum because it's like where do you start?
Mhm.
Because like if you did it full time, like if I did it full time, I could figure out how to make that business an extra 100 million.
Mhm.
No questions asked.
Mhm.
But it's like where do you start and how much do you do?
Yeah.
So the plan is like for me to architect everything from beginning to end.
Mhm.
We're going to start with one thing, so we're starting with the 2CCX coaching program, which is a great program. And then from there, it's like, how do we upsell them? Because the cool thing is, like, you join Clickfunnels, right? And then what they've done a great job is they've sort of gamified making money. And so the point of it is like, oh, I'll win a two comma club award.
Mm-hmm.
Right? To win a 2 Comma Club award, you have to put $1 million, right? Now, to get the award, you have to apply for the award.
Mm-hmm.
That costs money, right? Then when you accept the award, you go to Funnel Hacking Live, obviously, because you want to get the award in person.
Yeah.
Right? That you pay for that.
Yeah.
Then to get the
and
plaque,
you get your 30-second, you get your photo where you don't make eye contact.
Don't make eye contact. Right.
You've done all that.
Hey, right? I was talking to Ross the other day. I had a joke about that. Just in case you ever saw the podcast.
I'm sure he's not watching.
No, I'm sure he's not watching. And then from there, like you pay for the plaque.
Right.
Right. Now, once you get that, what's the next one, buddy?
Yeah.
Right. And there's a coaching program that's designed to help you get from like about $200K a year to the $1 million, so that you can get to 2CCX, and that costs like roughly 30 grand.
Right.
Roughly, exactly 30 grand. Right. So then from there, there's the next thing, which is like, in order to get to the next mastermind, you have to have won the 2 Comma Club.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so to buy that, it's significantly more. Right. And then from there, you want to win the 2CCX, which is the 10 million.
Mm-hmm.
So once you pay for the application, pay for the plaque, go to Funnel Hacking, accept it, then you're eligible to then go into the significantly more expensive Category Kings, which is designed to help you get to the 2CCC,
okay,
which is the 25 million award. Once you've won the 25 million award, you are eligible to go into Atlas, which is what I'm in, which is $250,000 a year. Right? Yeah, right. But it's honestly great.
Yeah.
Because the networking you get and the guest speakers that you get, like, for businesses that are at that level, it's totally worth it.
Yeah, I guess that's a way to frame it, right? Because most people, certainly for me, think you're paying $250,000 a year in coaching to be access to a level there, like, no value. But it is of no value to me. Like, but when you're at that level, that's incredible value.
But also, like, I think people miss the trick of it, because, like, Masterminds, if you have a business service, that is where you want to be. Like, that's your ad spend.
Okay.
It'd be like if there was, it'd be like if puppy schools were huge, and you wanted clients. Just join some puppy schools.
Yeah.
Right? Like an online puppy school or whatever, where you have access to 500 people that have puppies that all want to get trained. Like, you just pull side conversations, and that's how you get people.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, that's one of the ways that I grew Sniper, was I just was in Masterminds.
Right.
Right? And so that's the reason why I joined Category Kings, was specifically to talk to Russell. Like, we wanted to get a bunch of information, and, like, I wanted to get Jeremy on stage, which I think will still happen, right? But, like, and there were some cool things that we learned out of it, and we got to meet some cool people. But, like, really it was like, how can I
break into this,
get in this little world here? And we got a few clients out of it for 7th, and we got a few clients out of it for, we got a client out of it for Sniper and stuff like that. And so, realistically, like, if you're, an agency that does marketing, or if you're like a sales agency, or if you're a placement agency, or you're anything like that, where you provide services, like, you could spend $300,000 on ads, or you could honestly just spend $300,000 on Masterminds, and you would get a far greater return.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's how I've always looked at it. And, like, a lot of the people that I know that have similar businesses, like, that's how they've done it. And it's just like, you're just in front of the people. Those are easy conversations. Like, I was speaking to a guy the other day, and he does like PR. I was like, bro, what are you doing on ads? Just for Masterminds.
Yeah. I
was like, what do you spend on ads? Like 20 grand a month. I was like, sweet, cut that in half, make it 10, do it on Masterminds, you make twice the money. Because, like, you have what they don't. Yeah.
You're being put in the room with your own customers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then all you gotta do is, like, post up testimonials. Oh, I managed to get one of my clients in the front of Forbes. Oh, I want to be in front of Forbes.
Yeah.
Okay, no check.
Yeah.
Like, easy done. So they're pretty simple conversations. So there's definitely, like, multiple bits of value. And then, like, you can pull things from people that are doing things in different industries that people in your industry aren't doing, and, like, test out if they work, which I think is really good. And, like, there's no competition.
So that's what you sell now for Clickfunnels, is access to those masterminds. Yeah. And this is the pitch.
If you're a sales guy, I couldn't think of a better place to find clients. And
this seems like it's so. Seems like you've had this conversation.
I haven't. I never have. I was the top sales guy last month.
Yeah. So on that, so Sales Sniper churning along. just is going to sit as doing what it's doing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, you're not looking for a bunch of new clients. You're not doing any of that.
No, I think like the maximum I would take on is 4,
Mhm.
because like what I want to do is like just have like no infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
Like we'll have like finance person and salespeople.
Yeah.
Like
Meantime, 7th level moonshot.
it's gone.
Going like crazy.
It's gone well. Like it's interesting, right? Q4 was a bit of a shitter. Because like there were just like some systematic things that like had compounded, which I think we spoke about last time. But I kind of stepped back in. And I feel like we've made some good changes, and we got our new senior VP of sales in, David Duncan, who like really knows his shit when it comes to this stuff, and sort of we're going through. And I think that like we sort of didn't realize as well the capacity of B2B, but like I closed very close to $1 million last month. Not in cash, it's about 300 in cash, but it was around 950 in contract value. And like it was all mainly self-generated. I think for 7th level it was like 750 or 740, and for Clickfunnels it was like a couple hundred or something like that. But the B2B for 7th level is like a huge business that we just
Didn't know was there.
just didn't look.
Yeah.
And the guys are closing these little piddly fucking 30K B2B deals. And then I'm like, oh, you guys are doing this all wrong. Because like they just don't understand how to have that conversation. So like basically in December I was like, okay, I'll figure this out. And so at the moment, like what I'm doing is like I'm just figuring out how to do B2B and how to structure the packages, so I'm doing sales for it.
Right.
And like there's tons there. I mean, like it's just like there's no need for lead generation for it. There's no need for nothing. Like there's so much available. LinkedIn, in the CRM, in our current clientele, like.
And so what is it that you're offering? Like specialized training for sales forces?
Yeah, well, the thing is, like with businesses, like sales training doesn't work for 90% of businesses like that they buy for. Like they go out and they buy, XYZ companies access to portals and sales training. It's like those people don't fucking do anything. Like, let alone salespeople. So, but what they don't know how to do, because like none of them are realistically experienced enough in selling for those businesses to be able to figure out how to do it for that business. But like I'm in a unique position where I've done the business for like 75 companies, ranging from industrial cleaning companies to banks, right, to fitness companies, and all kinds of stuff like that. So like I just have a unique insight, and I can speak CEO language, right? And so, a guy has come to me with a guy came to me with a 40K budget, and I pitched him $1 million. Right, it was 40K, then I got him to 250 on the call, and then I was like, fuck it, I'll pitch him $1 million, and then we settled at like 350.
Yeah.
Right? Because I was like, no, I'll do it. Because I knew that we just knock some stuff off, and then we could sort of do it that way. But it was like, I can speak the language, because the things that like businesses are terrified about is like the change management piece.
Yeah.
Because let's say you have 150 sales staff, and you bring in a new way of doing things, and you like Grant Cardone force your will in. This is how we fucking do it, rah, and everyone drops by 10%, which is inevitable, even if it's a better way of doing it. But it's new. People suck at new things. They're trepidatious, like they don't, you know what I mean? So there's a hesitancy. So immediately sales drop. So then everyone goes, no, this doesn't work, coming to the way.
Yeah.
Now you're stuck with a 17-year contract, right?
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, okay, and so for me, like the thing is, and people buy keynotes, right? I was on the phone to a guy the other day, big franchise over in the US, like big franchise, and they wanted a keynote. And
what do you mean a keynote?
So they wanted Jeremy to come and speak.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. And then you sort of get around as to why they want that, and that's how they do their sales training.
Right.
And I was like, you ever like do a belly flop in a pool? He was like, huh? And I was like, yeah, you ever do a belly flop? He was like, yeah. And I was like, it's like a big giant splash and things go everywhere. You look 2 minutes later and the pool's perfectly still. I was like, that's kind of like what you guys did.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Guinness. I was like, it's fun and we'll for sure do it.
Yeah.
But what do you really want out of this? And from there, it was like, basically they want their team to
be better.
Like be better.
Yeah.
I was like, well, the adaptation 30 days later, they're going to retain about 15% of it. And then 90 days later, around 4%. That's what the data shows. So the keynote could be a great way to kick off.
Yeah, develop trust, make them like Jeremy, be impressed by him, get them like, I want to hear more from this guy.
And that's how we generally do it. When we do a big B2B deal, he flies out and just like, rah, and he's the best at it, right?
Yeah.
And then from there,
don't worry, I've got you.
yeah, and then from there, I architect the rollout of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I know there's two different ways to make more sales. It's like there's process and activity, and there's skill. The skill takes the full year. The process and activity we can fix day one.
Mm-hmm.
So let me figure out what you really suck at. Fix that first.
Mm-hmm.
Get them asking for referrals, doing follow-ups, handling objections, and then we're good to go.
Mm-hmm.
You've gone a 30% uplift. Now you think I'm a genius, and now I've got 12 months to ingratiate these guys into NBQ slowly but surely, so they don't actually shit the bed.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I'll write out like 5 different versions of their script.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this is Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then like I have like a whole adaptation and uptake and like assimilation phase thing, and I have a whole like secret shopping thing that we do, and like a 3-year thing. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
like it's
so
it's built for like the business owner to go, oh, you thought about this.
You mentioned this last week. You do secret shopping. So what you have, people enter the funnel unbeknownst to them,
and then provide reports.
Yeah, and give that client journey all the way through from entering the funnel to purchase, and like report on that.
Yeah.
And do you just
give certain objections, like give a partner, how did they handle it? Give money, how did they handle it? Did they do what we said?
Yeah.
Ask for price at the top.
Yeah.
Hey man, I'm just super busy today. Can you just let me know how this works? And the guy followed straight away. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
right? So just note it down.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then provide the report to the management. And then we
Right.
have like a monthly management meeting where we go over stuff.
Yeah.
We talk about the secret shoppers. We talk about what's going on. We look at the data. We make small adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so over the course of the year, like they'll do really well. But if I just give them portals, like
Yeah. Well, there's no telling whether people even watch it. That's one of the things with I've always thought, like even with my own stuff, when people say I want a qualification or like, can you give me some sort of certification? I'm like, hey man, I don't even know whether you watch the content.
Yeah.
Like, and all the sort of online quizzes, they're good for sort of checking that you are following along. But I'm not putting my name to anything from the quiz that goes to that, because you could hit play and walk away. And like,
and if you're gonna do a quiz properly, like, then it's like, all right, cool. Well, then like you can fail.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
if you want to pass, you also have to have the risk of a fail.
Exactly. So it's like, are you cool with that? Because it's $297 for a receipt. You know what I mean? Like, are you cool with this?
Yeah.
You know, certificate of buying, I can give you that.
Yeah.
Receipt.
Yeah.
I can make a pretty receipt
of attendance.
Yeah. Give you a blue ribbon. Like, you know, we've had the same thing. You know, so it's like, you know, with the platform that we have at the moment, like you can check all that. And the way that we do it, like there's a managerial portal to log in, but like, you know, again,
same deal. You're checking that the video played. That doesn't mean you weren't sitting there scrolling your phone, or that you were somewhere else letting it play.
Yeah, we're not putting like, you know, the cursor or the eye trackers and stuff like that in there like this, you know. So yeah, like it's sort of interesting, but the B2B stuff is really cool. So I actually have my own setter now, and I taught her how to like hunt the CRM. We still get a daily inquiry for Sales Sniper.
Yeah, right.
Right, so she was reaching out, booking them in, speaking to the reps, and like I was just like, guys, if you get B2B deals, like send them to me. I'll give you some comms. It's fine, but like stop selling these stupid $30K for the year, 10 portals. Like just sell them 500 circles or 5. You know, sell them a discounted rate for 10 3.0s. Like they'll get a far better result if you just do that. Like, hey, spend 50 instead of 30, and your guys will actually get a result. Do you do that? It's like, well, yeah, okay, cool. That's what I thought. Right? Yeah. And then we're doing what we do best, which is like actually coaching people, you know? So, but if you have a big business, like, you know, well, like sort of what I tell them is like, I'll do things the way that I think it needs to be done. If you can't afford it, that's not a problem. If you're too cheap, like if you want to get a $5 million uplift and you're not going to spend $400,000, like you're me.
Yeah.
Like I don't have any time for that.
I think that's a luxury of like, you know, not compromising on your own standards that you can now afford, right?
Well, but it's also like like I told Clickfunnels the same thing, because they wanted us to train their guys. I was like train them to do what? I was like, train guys that have been doing sales here for 10 years how to do sales better. I was like, it's not going to work. Yeah. They're just hating me. Yeah. You know.
You're the latest conqueror.
Yeah, and they all quit.
Yeah, right.
All of them.
How'd that go?
I didn't care. I mean, like, the reason why they quit is because, like, we put in a lot of transparency.
Right.
And like, I don't get upset. So if the MO is like gaslight, someone gets upset. And I just have a lot of authority in sales. Like, I can walk the walk and talk the talk. So, like, I know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, whatever, man. So, you know, they're nice guys. I wish them the best, but
Yeah,
they certainly
it's
say
fit.
horrible things to me. But whatever. People create the narrative that makes their world make sense.
Yeah.
And that's cool. Like, you know, they're really good dudes. So, whatever.
I think if there's one thing I know about you, it's that what people think and feel about you
It's one or the other.
is not of concern to you, though.
No. Yeah.
Like, whereas I get like, oh no, not everybody likes me. You're like, oh, people like me. Oh, people hate my guts. It's the same.
I think the thing is though, like when you fire people, like you realize, I realized it like when I started like having to fire people, like because I had like 3 or 4 talks with them and then you fire them, and like they are shitting the bed, admitting they're shitting the bed, doing a terrible job, barely trying, fucking everybody else around, admitting it, and then all of a sudden I'm the bad guy.
Yeah.
It's like, well, mate, like all right, like if that's what makes you happy, I'm like high five, make me the bad guy. It's fine. Like I'm cool. Doesn't matter. So like you start seeing that and you go like, oh, it's not reality. It's just like what they choose to feel because it makes them feel good. And if that's the case, then like make me the bad guy.
A few months ago, I went deep down the rabbit hole on like perception versus reality and the narrative. Like most of what you say is bullshit. Like everybody, not you. Like most of the words that come out of your mouth are total bullshit. And when you really think about, wait, did that happen that way? Like when you really try and tear it apart, it's very hard. I've stopped almost completely talking about anything from army. So like I've been out 8 years now, right?
I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I think things that you've told me.
Yeah, well,
I did.
See, this is
I
the
can't.
thing.
There's a couple of stories I could not hand on heart say I did or didn't do.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think layer the fact that you're on doxy the whole time you're deployed, so like get killed, or you should be, or for a period you are.
Yeah.
So you've killed all your gut.
To the pen frame.
Yeah, you've killed all your gut microbiome, right?
Yeah.
So
Which feeds your brain.
Yeah, so you're in a weird state, and you're taking that same medication is giving you lucid dreams, right?
Oh yeah.
So
I forgot about that.
so dreams that are very difficult, even when you wake up immediately after, to distinguish whether it was a dream or reality, right? Did you ever get any of those on doxy?
Lucid dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did big time in Timor.
Man,
Because we took a shit on it in Timor.
dude, I within the first week overseas, we got mortared, and I was having a dream that I was at
Sure.
Yeah, no, well, this is the thing. I was having a dream at the time that I was at Disneyland and watching DVDs. It was so real, and then I'm like woken up by an explosion.
Which one's
and
real?
man, I could not put together how I teleported from Disneyland to the war zone, and it took me longer than I cared to admit to sort of like come to action because I wasn't there. But so between the false memories you create at the time versus it's so long ago, and the way that memory works, every time you tell a story it gets different, and then you like we might have a shared experience. When you give your version of it, it's slightly different to my version, then your version becomes my version. Now, even if you were telling 100% your truth, your perception at the time was different to mine. And so I don't know what's real anymore. So I barely talk. Like when people ask me anything specifics about stuff, I'm like, hey, take this with a grain of, like, this is how I remember it, but this might be totally bullshit.
Yeah, and then people try and, like, if you say something to call you out, you're lying. It's like, mate, dude, I got no idea what the fuck happened. Like, half the things you just sort of forget.
Yeah.
And then someone tells a story and you're like, oh, yeah. Like, yeah, you were there. I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But now I remember that as how you said it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm remembering my bits that I can remember, but I'm now seeing it from how you did it.
Yeah.
So now I am you.
Yeah. So it gets.
And if I've been in a
scary.
similar circumstance, I'm going to amalgamate all of the pictures together and make a movie out of it.
Yeah.
But it could be totally different things.
Totally. So it gets a bit scary because then people go like, "Oh, that's not what happened. You're full of shit." And you're like, "Okay, like I don't care." Yeah, but I don't like. But also, I don't care.
Yeah, whatever.
Short of it being someone who was with me and going, "Hey, man, that's not how I remember," I might be like, "Oh, okay." Like, how do you specifically? But when I was like, "Hey, that's not how you told the story last time," you go, "Oh, I don't give a fuck, mate."
Yeah. I'm just, man, I'm 40. I don't know what's going on.
I have a significant amount of head trauma.
Those,
although the stories might not be accurate the same way I talk about the way I get those head traumas, they fucking happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So
Definitely got knocked the fuck out.
If I leave out a detail or add a detail, fuck you.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a weird aliens. Bro.
That's where we're going on this.
Right.
We should turn this into the aliens podcast. What do you think? Where are we at?
Oh, I mean, I think they've been here for a long time. Maybe we're the aliens.
So
Have you seen that?
no,
That Mars?
no.
So one of the theories floating around is that, like, so I think is it xenon, which is a thing, which is an element that we only found when we started doing nukes,
Okay,
is very heavily present on Mars,
okay.
right? And
So you think we nuked the whole place?
well, they think that that we are the aliens,
Mhm.
that we came from Mars,
Mhm.
right? And then sort of because we fucking got super advanced over on Mars and then nuked the shit out of Mars, and then we were like the super rich that came down.
Mhm.
Whatever, which checks it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's obviously all these theories are crazy. Like, not crazy, but like, there's no way to sort of prove or disprove at the moment. But I think like 2024 is the year of the alien,
Yeah.
and I think this is the year that we all have to come. That we're either living simultaneously in the same space as four-dimensional beings,
That's what I
and they can pop in and out.
That's
That's what aliens are.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
And they don't give a fuck about us. They just want to make sure we don't nuke them.
Yeah.
Because the nuking can tear
Yeah,
time
I
and
agree.
space and fabric, so they're just going to stop us from nuking the fucking world like we might have done on Mars, right? right? And they're going to be like, time the fuck out, people.
So hard pivot from
And they're gonna-
sales sniper at 7th level,
Yeah.
but
Needless to say,
probably more interesting.
I have a pretty prepped out fucking spare vehicle.
No, I hope I go in the first wave. I don't, like. I was discussing this with my wife last night. Like everybody else, think that 2024 is the year of the end, and what I don't want to do is survive for 6 weeks in a shitty situation.
Yeah.
I want out first time.
I don't think it's the end. I think this is the year that we learn some shit.
Yeah.
That things aren't quite as what they seem.
Yeah.
But like, it's always been that way.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we're just gonna see people appear because the appearing is the interesting part.
But I don't think it's going to work because I don't think there'll be the answer that we want because I think that I agree with you entirely that we share this space with something else. And like, for example, I was watching with the kids the other day, I was watching a show on Netflix about like the history of Earth in general, right? So like a cuttlefish, for example, has existed in its current form for more than 440 million years, right? It's been the same thing for 440 million years. And even prior to life getting out of the water, there were 2 mass extinction events where 85% of things alive died.
Yeah.
So to think that something existed 440 million years ago that survived and has evolved beyond something we can possibly perceive, like that makes total sense to me.
Makes
Like,
sense.
that's totally plausible considering our
There's a
evolution.
dinosaur that's still alive. You know that?
Which one?
There's a little teeny tiny one.
That was around same time as dinosaurs.
It is a fully blown dinosaur.
Yeah, right.
They're like they've evolved sort of into something else now, like sort of like a chickeny like thing.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it is a fucking dinosaur.
Yeah, yeah.
And they made the adaptation of being able to eat seeds.
Yeah, right. There
And
you
so when there was the mass extinction event, they flourished because there were seeds everywhere.
go. Hmm.
And so like I'll find you the name, but it was like
Yeah.
I was watching this thing the other day, and it was like all these extinct dinosaurs, and it was like that one didn't have an extinct next to it, and someone sort of extrapolated and explained those motherfuckers are still around.
Yeah, right.
Like
Yeah. Well, so I totally buy it. And so I think that something that has been around way longer than us has evolved on a totally different branch plan to something we can't even understand.
Yeah.
And so
but the four-dimensional stuff makes sense because like if you look at what a ball would look like in 2 dimensions, it would just be a circle that gets bigger than the
Yeah.
center. That's it, right?
yeah.
And so we can't perceive the fourth dimension.
No,
And there's
well, we can, but
approximately-
we're stuck moving at the speed of light, and so
Yeah.
we're moving through it at a constant rate. And maybe something can move through it as easily as you and I move through space. It can move through time, and also, like when you think of time, how smaller segments do you think time can be broken into?
Well, I don't know if is time the 4th dimension, or are they talking about like there's like the
Yeah, well, this is what the thing. So they don't know, right?
Right.
We're fucking 2 dickheads
Yeah.
that talk about.
Well, I
this.
know is that I saw a video of a couple of aliens appear out of nowhere.
But the Miami one I don't believe. But I think in general,
I think that was an Epstein Island fucking
yeah,
breakaway.
look over here, don't look over there.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing. If you really want to go full conspiracy theorist, maybe the whole alien thing's we're going to go on a fake space war with something on the dark side of the moon that we can never prove isn't there.
Space Force is the thing.
Well, but the Space Force, That's one of the funniest things when people, especially when old Trumpy was like, "I'm going to start a space force." People were like, "You're an idiot." Go, actually, motherfucker. Some of the most important critical infrastructure is floating around in space with no one protecting it.
Yeah.
So,
well, the satellite infrastructure.
Yeah. So it kind of makes sense to me that you would establish a group that protects that shit and its interests.
Yeah.
Not from aliens, but from other people.
Well, you're going to go even deeper. Why is the South Pole the only place that everyone agrees? That makes no fucking sense. Crazy. The whole world makes no sense. But it's really interesting. I think, like, for me, the whole veil of, like, believing anything that we're told came crashing down during COVID.
100%.
Because, like, that whole thing was
100%.
It all comes out now. Oh, none of that shit was really...
And we knew all along. It was all bullshit.
Yeah, it's like, oh, sorry, we just kind of fucked you around. We made a couple $100 billion.
Yeah.
Pretty happy with that. And we're just like, Jesus Christ, guys. Like, we fucking crucified people.
Yeah.
For not taking a jab, which they probably shouldn't have taken. Like, you fucking crazy? Like, what's happening here? So, as soon as that all happened, then everyone's like, oh, that doesn't exist. And then, like, Alex Jones is like, they're pedophile island. And they're like, shut up, Alex. You know what you're talking about. We're like, oh, shit. There's pedophile islands.
Yeah.
It's like, oh. Yeah. Well, that's unfortunate. Turns out Jason Momoa went there. That's fucking even more unfortunate.
You have to be careful to, like, plenty of people, I think, probably went to Epstein Island and he goes, hey, want to fuck this shit? And they go, no. Yeah. Like, it doesn't just because they went there doesn't mean that they did the thing.
Yeah.
Also, if they went back plenty of times, then I'd say that's probably fair at that point.
Track plan going back and forth. But one of the interesting things is, like, Andre 3000?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so that's the same thing. I heard that they were like, hey, you want to be, like, part of one of us?
Yeah.
And he's like, nah. They're like, okay, but we'll destroy you. You'll disappear. And he's like, au revoir.
Yeah. I got money, whatever.
Yeah, I got enough.
Yeah. I reckon that whole world is, they kind of make you initiate, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because, like, if you have a look at, like, you know, what Mark Wahlberg and that other guy, who's that guy, Cavill? You know?
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're full righteous against, like, the sex trafficking and speaking out very hard against...
Yeah, and they've had some pretty heavy impacts on their career.
Yeah, and also, like, the fact that movie, was it Spoken Freedom or whatever it was?
Sound of Freedom.
Just got, like, mate, they ghosted that fucking movie.
Yeah.
And it's a true story.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Have you
that
seen
dude took down a pedophile by himself.
Yeah, have you seen it?
No, you can't see it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
You can't fucking see it. Like, it was just bizarro. Like, I mean, huge production team, lots of big stars, and it was like every single place just refused to pick it up. And you're like, what is happening?
Yeah, it feels like stopping people fucking kids is something that we could all probably get behind. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's
so weird.
When someone's like, I don't support stopping child sex trafficking. We're like,
hang on a second.
I feel like that's something we can all agree on. I don't care about your politics beyond stopping that.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty. Like, I think that's one we can agree on.
I agree. It's a strange time.
Yeah.
You know, the world is weird. I think, but I think hopefully aliens bring us back in online.
I think to wrap up, I think that we can't understand them. And every time that I talk to anyone about, like, I think that they're a different thing, and people say, why haven't they spoken to us? And, like, do you feel compelled? Yeah, do you feel compelled to explain yourself to ants? It'd be a similar thing. They're just like, problem. But then you're right, the nuclear thing, they're like, oh shit, these guys might rip open a black hole that we also will get sucked into.
Yeah.
So, like, actually...
Well, also, it's like, you know, like, we watch orangutans in the wild, and we go, oh, yeah, that's cool. And there's a couple people looking after them, like, as there obviously fucking is.
Yeah.
Right? Over here, like, we have some sort of agreement going on with, like, all the Lockheed Martin contracts, all that kind of shit, right? But if they picked up a fucking wrench and started making a car, you'd be very interested. Yeah. You'd be like, what the fuck's going on over there? Yeah. Like, everyone would be like, huh, we gotta watch out for these fucking monkeys. Yeah. You know, because, like, what's next? Like, they're evolving into the next thing. And if we're evolving as a civil, because maybe evolution isn't no longer physical, maybe it's like just technological, right? So who knows? But anyway, I'm doing the search for Clickfunnels, so.
All right, it's podcasting in 2 parts. We're trying to make the time each week to do it. We can either talk about business and stuff that you do, or we can talk nonsense. You let us know in the comments. A bit of column A. We'll do whatever we're told. We just do whatever we're told.
Views.
Goodbye.
Put that coffee down.